You're not gonna fall for the banana in the tailpipe?
When it comes to comedy, there's Big, and then there's Eddie Murphy in the 1980s Big.
Merry New Year!
How you doing?
In his face! Yes, in the face!
The heat is still on at the box office for Beverly Hills Cop 2.
Dominating stand-up.
In the Amityville Horror, the ghost told them to get out the house. White people stayed in there. Now that's a hint and a half for your ass.
Reigning over television.
Live from New York, it's the Eddie Murphy Show!
Changing the face of movies.
There's a new sheriff in town. And his name is Reggie Hammond.
Eddie taught me commitment. If you're gonna do the character, do it, because that's what brings out the comedy.
I'm Velvet Jones.
Everybody was into what is he gonna do next?
I can see! I can see! I have legs!
What does dumb fuck mean?
He owns the decade and breaks the mold on how big black comedy can be.
This dude is still the GOAT. GOAT.
What we created spawned a whole generation.
Uncut, in your face.
That guy has got First show I fell in love with.
Jefferson.
A movie star, that's rare.
Fresh new energy.
Multi-dimensional.
Unapologetic.
People want to see.
You can't even talk about black comedy without
Def Comedy, Eddie Murphy is a comedy.
Kevin Hart.
fundamental to the black culture.
Well, I might be a little bit biased, but I believe the legacy of Eddie Murphy is the greatest comedian of any type to ever do comedy.
Well, since this is the Eddie Murphy episode, I agree. No, Eddie's the GOAT. Eddie is the GOAT. I mean, you know, he can sing, rap, dance in just one show.
Yeah.
Eddie's GOAT is Richard.
What would a woman that fine want in a big, fat, nasty, greasy, fat, stank, bloated, cheesy, back 12 sandwich-eating bastard? What does she want with it?
I don't know, man. She likes fat guys. But our GOAT is definitely Eddie.
Eddie. When I did the second season of They Ready, I tried to dress like Eddie Murphy. I tried to look just like him. I really did.
The red leather hit.
The red leather hit. I still got that outfit, too. I put it on from time to time, and I'm like, I need to be great. I need to feel great. I put it on, and I walk around the house, and I feel amazing.
Eddie was great.
Eddie Murphy's career was so big, we have to break it down to eras. And there was no era bigger than the 80s. 2 specials.
I'm Michael motherfucking Jackson, I will bust your ass! Get the fuck out, motherfucker. I'll moonwalk all up and down your ass, motherfucker.
8 movies, all of them box office hits. He dropped music that was dominating. I mean, going from zero to super duper hero.
Uh-oh. Give me some. Hear ye, Tracy Morgan's in the building.
Oh, no, forget the hands.
Yeah.
How you doing, sir?
Good, man.
Come on, one more time.
One more time. You know I need my sugar.
Okay.
To the beat.
How are you, sir?
I'm good.
Most of your career has actually been in your city.
Yeah.
That's gotta feel good, right?
Yeah, I mean, I got love in L.A. too, but this is New York City.
Right.
You know what John Lennon called New York City? He called it Rome.
And why is that?
Because this is the center of the universe. To do comedy here, I feel like the king of New York. I'm Brian Fellow. That's what you are.
Go get me a soda, bitch!
What's your first memory seeing Eddie on TV? Was it SNL?
Yes.
And what'd you think?
When I saw Eddie, I laughed. He was funny.
Just in for my new book entitled, I Wanna Be a Hoe. And if in 6 short weeks, you're not confident that you can make big money as a hoe working for me, just send the book back for a refund. It's as simple as that.
So what was it like having to follow in Eddie Murphy's footsteps on SNL?
I met Eddie there. It's a coincidence. I met Eddie AH. That's where I met him. That's where I first saw him, laid eyes on him.
What is that?
AH was the hottest chick in town. That's where they filmed Saturday Night Live, the 8th floor in Rockefeller Center. All the stuff you've ever seen Eddie do, that's AH.
That's where you're telling me what to do. I don't know who he thinks. Imagine him telling me where I can park and where I cannot park. I'm Gumby, damn it! You don't talk to me that way.
Eddie wasn't even a cast member all the way. Eddie was like the warm-up guy.
What do you mean?
Eddie was just warming the crowd up. I think Eddie was like a part-time. And he would do jokes during warm-ups.
Say, man, listen to this here. Say, man, your mama got some mouth in the back of her neck, and the bitch chew like this.
He said one time a female sneezed and a booger came out attached to a chain or something. He would do things like, and they made him cast member, and look what happened.
All I'm saying is that y'all stay on the hockey courts and the polo fields and let us stay on the basketball courts. Because if God would have wanted whites to be equal to blacks, everybody have one of these.
What's your favorite Eddie Murphy sketch from SNL?
I don't know about you, and I don't know about nobody else, but for me, it was Hymietown.
Oh, my God.
Don't let me down.
Don't let me down. Hymietown.
I just fell out because I know where he was getting it from. That was Teddy Pendergrass.
You're the only one in the world that I need. Whoa.
Oh my God, it was so hilarious. It was just hilarious how they was doing the improv, how he was singing,
right.
And he was so committed.
Right.
And that's what Eddie taught me.
Right.
Eddie taught me commitment. If you're gonna do the character, do it, because that's what brings out the comedy.
You know, I guess that comes in with discipline and working and being a good actor.
People go, he really trying to be this dude, and that's what makes it funny.
Right.
People don't know that. A lot of stand-ups don't know that. You gotta be committed.
So get down on the floor with Velvet, the Velvet Jones Exercise of Love, another fine product from Velvet Video.
I've always wondered, where was your head? What was you thinking about? You was 19, 20, at that age, how? At that age, how? I know you wondered that.
Right.
How? Would I have been able to? How did he do this at 19 years old? Would I have been able to do it? Did I know enough? Did I experience enough to talk about it the way he did? I don't know. I doubt it. If I knew that at 19. He was born with that.
I started performing when I was 15 years old, and I'd be in nightclubs and bars till like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. And I went to the comic strip, and they gave me more freedom on the stage. Like the improv tried to like say, you can't do this, you can't do that. And I went to the comic strip in Manhattan, and they said, do whatever you want to do, just be funny. So my act started to grow on the stage there, and I started working out in clubs on the island. I became a working comic by the time I was like 18 years old. And then at 19, they gave me this show. And
rumor has it, Eddie Murphy saved Saturday Night Live. Is that true?
In my opinion, absolutely.
Eddie Murphy is launched as an 18-year-old into Saturday Night Live, a platform that had let down black comedians. It really wasn't a place where you were focused for watching black comedy. It was a black comedian performing a skit, but it had nothing to do with black culture. Eddie Murphy flipped that on its head. Eddie Murphy made Saturday Night Live, particularly for black folks, a must-watch.
Man, Eddie took over that show, and his characters from Buckwheat to James Brown to, you know, Mr. Robinson's Neighborhood. And I mean, you used to sit around your TV hoping you saw Mr. Robinson's Neighborhood.
I've always wanted to live in a house like yours, my friend. Maybe when there's nobody home, I'll break in.
I think about the James Brown sketch, you know, going to get in the hot tub, too hot.
Hot tub in the water. Too hot for the hot tub.
Shall I get in the hot tub? Yeah. Will it make me sweat? Yeah. Shall I get in the hot tub? Yeah. Will it make me wet? Yeah. Here I go in the hot tub. Too hot in the hot tub. Burn the flesh. Make it cooler. Good God.
It was just like any sketch and every sketch. I mean, honestly, it could have just been the Eddie Murphy show and just him being black on Saturday, 7 days a week. He was that breath of fresh new energy and air for my generation. It's almost like when you ask people how they got into hip-hop, who was your first artist that you fell in love with and then you fell in love with the culture. He was that for me in comedy. Somebody that looks like you, somebody that's your generation, somebody that's talking your talk. It's just like who we latched on to.
Listen.
My shady amor, distant as a Milky Way.
Got it.
How the city you were mine.
It still sucks, man.
Eddie was special. And when Eddie came on, first of all, he got the younger audience.
Right.
He got them.
Were the ratings low before he got there?
They were dwindling. You gotta remember, Lorne Michaels left. Dick Ebersol was the executive, remember?
Right.
Dick Ebersol was there with Eddie. And it blew up again.
A black man named George Washington Carver developed a new method of soil improvement through crop rotation. So I messed up. Shut up!
Why do you think Eddie has such a global impact on people?
You know, the pride. It's about comedy. It makes everyone laugh, and that's what I've learned from him. You want everyone to laugh, not just black people.
Men, how many prophylactics do you use in a year? 20, 30, 40, 100? Well, you never need to buy another prophylactic again, thanks to Popill's new Galactic Prophylactic. The prophylactic guaranteed to last you 50 years. Imagine that, 50 years. It's more than a contraceptive, it's a family heirloom.
And plus, if you ain't got no white people in your audience, you ain't getting no money. You ain't getting no money. White people got that bread. And they got the bread. Come check me out.
Eddie was also fashion forward, right? If you think about the outfits.
You ain't getting on stage unless you right.
Delirious.
I ain't getting on stage.
Raw.
He was bad.
Tight leather outfits.
I think that he was the only one that could outdo Michael. I went to one of Michael Jackson's concerts and do my drawers on stage, doodle stains and everything. They stopped the music. Stop the music. Get the thing. Who the fuck did this? He laughing. Doodle stains.
Whoever did this, tell him to beat it.
Because Michael was like that too. Who didn't want to have sex with Michael Jackson?
Now, Michael, look, I understand here that Diana Ross discovered you. Hey, did you ever discover her,
Let's just say that when Diana and I did the Riz, that I took over the rainbow lots of times myself.
All right, I hear.
To be on Saturday Night Live, you're in the books once you do that. Once you make it at AH, because it's so competitive. Every week, everybody's trying to get their sketches on, because if you come off there, you're gonna come off like a fat rat in the cheese factory.
Mr. Car, may I call you Car?
So, when he was hitting all those notes, as a musician, when he was hitting all those notes, I was like, this dude is Patti LaBelle. This dude is Patti. He Patti. And then you got 48 Hours Trading Places and took off. But Eddie told me personally, he uses stand-up to get to Saturday Night Live. He used Saturday Night Live to get the movies.
Right.
He used movies to get the directing.
Right.
I believe we've met. My name is Quick.
My name is Dominique LaRue, Mr. Quick. Charmed to make your acquaintance.
Boys and girls always lock your door in a bad neighborhood. Hey, tell your mom I said hello. Ask that bitch why she ain't call me. Yay! What's up, girlfriend? Look at us. Woo! Ejaculate.
I don't want butter. Okay, you do what you want, man.
JB, you got me here on the back lot. Why?
This is our little homage to the legendary Eddie Murphy and Mr. Robinson's Neighborhood from SNL.
Yes,
Come on now, this is it. This is outside Mr. Robinson's Neighborhood right here. Bodega down the street right there. Yo, bring me a black and mild back. Eddie was fresh. It was brand new in the 80s. You talking about this kid came out of nowhere. This kid was young.
Here's the riddle, boys and girls. What's black and Puerto Rican and has my eyes?
We were like, wow, this kid is doing it. He's on this top show. He's making people holler, laughter, like iconic characters.
Why am I here working with this no-talent, drunken hypochondriac horse? That nag could not get a job on a merry-go-round.
And living in the moment with Eddie, like in the moment with Eddie, when Eddie was in New York City, I'm a New Yorker. New York City, Eddie broke on the scene. What? That was it.
When's the first time you met Eddie Murphy, and what happened?
Now, I've seen Eddie Murphy in New York plenty of times before I even started doing stand-up, you know? I saw Eddie Murphy walk into this club called the Red Parrot one night. It was like, this was the hottest club in New York. I mean, this club was banging. This was the club, the premier club in New York City. The dance floor was basically like your ass was the parrot.
Yeah.
There was a cage around the dance floor, and from that cage, you can see everybody who comes in the club. Like the door was right there. You be on there getting your groove on.
Dancing.
You know, you getting it in, And you can see everybody who walked up in that joint. They had a big VIP in the back. So that night, I was in there partying, you know. I wasn't even a comedian yet. I was just doing my thing. And man, I saw Eddie Murphy, Mike Tyson, and Arsenio Hall walking that joint at the same time. I was like, yo! Mike Tyson, the champ. And he was the champ. He was the champ. Man, I always joke around. I always stress the story a little bit. Mike came in there with his boxing gloves on and shorts and everything, and a mouthpiece in. And Eddie Murphy came in there with the red leather outfit, with the little gloves on. He came with that on. And Arsenio Hall had the longest suit jacket on. The suit jacket was like down to his knees. And he had that long-ass finger. He came in there, it's crowded in here. And everybody thought he had a gun in his hand. Because the damn finger was so goddamn long. Everybody said, he got a gun! That just shows you the era.
Yeah.
The heat was on.
So you was a little groupied out? You was a little
You had to be.
Would you say that Eddie opened the door for not just black comedy stars, but black actors, period?
His star was so huge, especially after Delirious, it went to another level. You know, Saturday Night Live was one thing, but Delirious took it to another level.
The ice cream man is coming! The ice cream man is coming! Ma! Those are some money! The ice cream man is coming!
And from there, it just seemed like he put out hit after hit after hit after hit.
I said, I want the knife.
You talking about the first action comedy black man that crossed all barriers. You know, back in the day, he used to say that black people couldn't cross over internationally. He did movies that just crossed all barriers, and it was the first time you could really see an international star from a comedy perspective go all over the world like that. It was a phenomenon. He was a rock star, man.
Just once, I might use the bathroom by myself.
Notes to music, sir.
Wipers!
Like, he was this man that was like a Renaissance man. He was kind of like doing it all, and I feel like it's hard not to love him. Regardless of whether or not you see yourself in him, you're just like, this man is just good at everything.
Wait a second. A man has the right to change his name to whatever he wants to change it to. And if a man wants to be called Muhammad Ali, God damn it, this is a free country. You should respect his wishes and call the man Muhammad Ali.
Back then, all eyes were on Eddie Murphy at that time. All eyes were on Eddie Murphy.
Right.
So it's different. Pryor inspired, and I think Eddie motivated you. Thing about Eddie Murphy's movies, if you go back to 48 Hours, all his movies, those are action movies. Those are not comedies. Eddie made it a comedy. He made it funny. Right. The character is funny.
You people are rednecks. That means I'm enjoying this shit.
Well, if you look at it, how it's written, they had other people in mind. All those movies, 48 Hours, Beverly Hills Cop, they had their mind on other actors.
Yeah.
Because the movie was not written as a comedy. It was written as an action movie. So if it's an action shoot-'em-up cop movie, you hire people who played cops before. 48 Hours wasn't his movie. It was a Nick Nolte movie. They put a comedian in there.
You don't have to work for money.
Is
You
that
don't
Hammer?
have to say your body to the night. Rock the
Hammer.
Trading places.
Trading places.
Hello, security. Merry Christmas.
It was supposed to be Pryor and Gene Wilder.
Oh, really?
Yes, yes.
Hey, y'all.
they took a chance on Eddie Murphy, and it's history.
Yeah.
Think about this. When he was on SNL, he was already a star when he did those last few seasons. He was actually promoting 48 Hours while he was still on the show.
Didn't he host while he was still on the show?
Nick Nolte was supposed to host that episode of SNL. So they were promoting 48 Hours.
Yeah.
But he couldn't do it. They had to pick somebody to take his place. Now, imagine you there, and you one of the cast members, and all of a sudden they take Eddie Murphy and put Eddie Murphy host SNL.
We realized Nick was too sick to do the show. And it's too bad, because Nick was gonna be in some real great stuff tonight. But I know you people tune in to see one of the stars of 48 Hours host the show, and damn it, you're gonna see it, because I'm the host of the show. Live from New York, it's the Eddie Murphy Show!
That's how brilliant the dude was.
Yeah.
They had a term now where they say, stay ready to be ready. That's kind of like his mantra in a way.
Yeah.
It seemed like every moment where they had their mind on somebody else, Eddie Murphy was able to step in there and hit a home run. No matter what happened, the era was his. That was his to take.
I feel like Eddie kicked the door open.
Give it up, Billy, you got no chance.
Oh, he kicked the door open for sure, but he kicked the door open for action comedy.
Jesus Christ.
Everything should be the ability for a person, a comedian, an actor to take chances, because that's what brilliant roles come from. Taking a chance on somebody.
Trust me.
We can dive in all day on all this man's movies, man. Come on, man. Coming to America, come on. Now, look, we can do this all day. Come on, Coming to America.
Are you saying that no matter what I tell you to do, you will do?
Yes, Your Highness.
Anything I say, you do?
Yes, Your Highness.
Bark like a dog.
Come on, man. Coming to America?
You must be out of your goddamn mind. Joe Louis, the greatest boxer ever lived. I'll be with you boys in a minute.
What about Rocky Marciano?
Oh, there they go. There they go. Every time I start talking about boxing, a white man got to pull Rocky Marciano out their ass.
He has so many voices, and he's playing a multitude of characters.
It feels so lovely to be here tonight. What a beautiful, give yourselves a round of applause. You're so lovely, everyone's so lovely. I'd like to give a big round of applause to my band, Sexual Chocolate. Sexual Chocolate. They play so fine, don't you agree?
What Eddie did with that, man, he mastered it. He took it to another level, man. It's been done before, but not like that, man. And I say that because every one of those characters, not only is he playing every one of those characters, he has to react to each one of those characters. You know how hard it must be to play all those characters in an argument. Not a breather like, oh, how's school today? No, a full-ass argument, and you playing every one of those characters.
Rocky Marciano was good, but compared to Joe Louis, Rocky Marciano ain't shit.
He beat Joe Louis's ass.
That's right, he did whoop Joe Louis' ass. Joe Louis was 75 years old when he fought.
You gotta match the energy of every one of those characters to make the scene work.
Right.
That's crazy. That's crazy. That's what makes him so brilliant, man. Unmatched.
If I fail, if I succeed, you can't take away my dignity.
Thank you for showing up, Dr.
Yes, sir.
Boyd.
Yes,
I appreciate you. We're here to talk Eddie Murphy. Do you know the significance of this truck?
Do I know the significance? This is the opening scene to Beverly Hills Cop.
Tell me something, fella. What's going on? Shit. I've been here too long. Talk to me.
Just give us a minute, okay?
No, I ain't got no more minutes. Here, check this out. I want you to see something. You can't get no cleaning in this here. Look here. These are very popular cigarette with the children. You know what this is in here? You know what this is? This is a federal tax stamp. You can't beat that. You can't get no cleaning in that. Talk to me. Tell me something.
Axel Foley in the alley in my city, the 313, Detroit, repping, right? This is what sets everything in motion.
No, look, can I say it slow for you? Look, I need $5,000. Read my lips.
$5,000 is what I need. This is bullshit here.
And the film would go on to make Eddie into this huge movie star. So do I know? Yeah, I know. This is Beverly Hills Cop. It's Eddie, but it's also Detroit.
Oh, officer, you know what just happened a few minutes ago? You ain't gonna believe this shit. Check this out. The truck, it just stopped, man. It just stopped. You got some jumper cables, you give me a jump.
A lot of people don't know how big Eddie Murphy was in the 80s.
Please welcome Eddie Murphy. Would you welcome Eddie Murphy?
Eddie Murphy was huge in the 80s. The thing you have to understand about the 80s is Michael Jackson, Thriller, Bad, Prince doing his thing, Whitney Houston, Michael Jordan. I mean, the era was filled with people operating at the highest level, and Eddie was not only part of that mix, but once he made that transition from television, Saturday Night Live, to doing movies, his comedy, I mean, he's one of the biggest, if not the biggest box office star at that time. So in terms of that era, I mean, you know, Eddie's the man.
Man, you say box office stars and how big his star was. How would you describe how big he was so people today would understand?
I mean, and I don't know if there's one person who occupies that space. Eddie was a groundbreaker.
You don't even know anything about it. But I do know this. When the majors want to play where you're playing, you just pack up and move.
Hey, Sugar, that's bullshit. Why the fuck should we build a market up just so somebody can come along and take it over? Especially when all this shit is illegal.
To be able to operate in the space that Eddie operated in the 80s, this wasn't brand new, but it was still new. And so for a black guy to come in and dominate the box office in the way that he did in such a short period of time, he was really dominant in an era when it was a lot harder to be dominant. I mean, there was no social media, none of the things we've got used to today, and there's no long history of people breaking those barriers. He was one of the people who set all that in motion.
You're not kidding about dominance, by the way, because the 80s, ton of classic movies, a lot of cult classics, but big, huge films. 1984, for example, had Gremlins, Footloose, the sequel to Indiana Jones.
Hello, Lady, we going for a ride.
You know what movie was #1 box office that year?
Beverly Hills Cop.
Beverly Hills Cop.
Beverly Hills Cop opened to a two-day gross of $3,865,000. Big figures for a midweek start.
I think even as a comedian, I can't imagine with sci-fi and all these genres and actions and everything that a comedy holds the box office record for the year, man. That's amazing.
I mean, you know, Beverly Hills Cop was a big deal. It really blew Eddie up. I mean, Eddie was hot from Saturday Night Live and then doing Delirious. I mean, he was hot. And this is the era of Stallone, Schwarzenegger.
I'll be back.
And Eddie comes in with Beverly Hills Cop, and he's doing something very different than those cats, but he does it at a high level.
Inspector Rafferty, United States Customs Service.
Has all this stuff passed through customs already?
No, this is the bonded area.
Well, then tell me something. Answer a question for me. How can a black man, dressed like me, just march into your warehouse, walk into the bonded area, and start poking around without anyone asking me any questions whatsoever?
Well, I don't know.
Well, thank you. That's the answer I was looking for. Why don't you guys just give me your ID numbers, because somebody's going to lose their job behind this. This guy gave me a match, for Christ's sake.
Oh, you gave him a match?
And the public responds to it, and it really sets his career off in a way that is just phenomenal.
Man, in order to be that massive of a star, you have to be loved by everybody, you know, and that's hard to imagine for somebody from the black culture being able to appeal to everybody. Is there anything about the way that he came up that you could think would be how he was able to do that?
Well, you know, one of the popular terms in the 80s was this term crossover. And this was a term people would apply to black artists, black performers who appealed to mass audiences, who appeal beyond, say, a black audience. And when you think about the stars of that era, the dominant stars, crossover was the way people often described them. Eddie had made the transition, and he was hugely popular, but he didn't compromise his material.
So how long would it take to shave those legs anyway?
I suppose you're trying to be charming.
Actually, I'm just offering my grooming services.
I don't think so.
The movies like didn't just appeal to black audiences, they appealed to the masses. And it was really difficult to do that, but he pulled it off in movies. Wasn't in music, wasn't in sports, where there's a different tradition. It happened in film, and I think when you look at it, you recognize he's a major movie star in the 80s. He's not a black star, he's not a white star, he's a movie star. I mean, Eddie Murphy's on some Cary Grant shit, ultimately. Like, you know, he's not just a comedian. He's not somebody you could just pigeonhole. You have to think about what that phrase, movie star, actually means. I would say in the whole history of cinema, there have not been that many black movie stars. There have been successful actors, there have been stars, but a movie star, that's rare. Eddie did that. Back in the day when people actually went to movie theaters to see movies en masse, especially in the 80s, I mean, his name just speaks volumes. You don't need to say anything, just say Eddie Murphy.
Goodbye, Mr. James.
I guess that's my cue.
He had box office power. For him to be able to prove that time and time and time and time again, that if you put him in a film, people are going to show up, people are going to spend their money. It allows for studios and other audiences to believe, oh, there's another black man in this film, that he might also have that same type of magnetism.
I got the name.
That's the type of power that man had, and that's the only reason why they can believe any other black man would have that type of power.
Thank you for joining me, Lila.
Knock, knock.
Hey, why are you looking at me like that?
Please like her. I've never been on Oprah. I'm gonna get myself a real man.
Me as a comedian, Eddie Murphy is the end-all, be-all to comedy, but I was kind of born into his stardom. He's the first movie star that I really knew of.
He was huge, and he was starring in big white movies as the star. I mean, he was the only one, really.
I don't think Eddie will ever get the credit maybe he deserves for making black film with pretty much an all-black cast. You saw how many African Americans he had on set. Is that a normal thing in this industry?
One thing that was great about Eddie Murphy is the way he brought younger comedians on. And matter of fact, he put his peers on. I mean, let's think about the first original Black Pack. It was him, Townsend, Keenan, and Paul Mooney. It was like those four. Townsend and Keenan went on to be some incredible directors. Paul Mooney, of course, was kind of like the big brother because, you know, he was Pryor's guy, but he was there to give influence and guidance to Eddie.
And he was putting everybody on. I mean, with Harlem Nights to...
Coming to America?
Yeah, Coming to America.
Can we just talk about that for 2 seconds? So classic. And, you know, Arsenio, who we had no idea he had these acting chops. So to see him put his buddy in this incredibly expensive at the time comedy was absolutely masterful for you know, Arsenio's acting career.
And gives you the iconic role of Simi. No one will ever forget Simi.
Never. You know what's wild is like Eddie went from 48 Hours, just being hired as an actor in the beginning of the 80s, to bam, by the end of the decade, he's Harlem Nights, casting all the legends. Like Della Reese is in there, Richard Pryor's in there, Red Fox is in it. Like every actor was legendary, or he was giving people opportunity in that same exact movie.
Because Robin Harris is in it.
Yeah.
Charlie Murphy's in it.
Right.
Yeah.
Arsenio's in it.
Yeah.
And then Miss Sunshine, I mean, she would have never got Waiting to Exhale.
I think I'm falling in love with you.
Put your mama on the phone is one of the most classic lines in cinema history.
Hello, it's Daddy. Hey, darling, put Mommy on the phone. Yeah, Barbara, it's Richie. Yeah, look it, I ain't never coming home no more. Take it easy.
Keenen Ivory Wayans and Robert Townsend, those were two of Eddie's guys. He had them in many of things, including his stand-up specials with Delirious and Raw. And he gave them writing credit on Raw.
I don't know if you remember, but instead of the big thing was the Rat Pack, you know, and I think somebody had a cover called the Black Pack. It was big for our time. You know, somebody that was selling out movie theaters and selling out stadiums, that was new.
It was like every project that he has his hand on where he gets to lead or quarterback, he's always trying to cultivate black talent. Was that something that was clear in the industry with you guys?
Definitely. I think what he wanted to do with his production company originally was to embrace black talent and to put us forward and to try to do more movies with us. The more successful that Eddie was, he began to have more power. And when you have more power, you can be more creative and you can start to do things that you really want to do. And I think the projects that he started doing were projects he could relate to.
To those who have never seen Harlem Nights, describe what that movie is about.
Okay, Harlem Nights. What Eddie intended it to be when he wrote it was he wanted to do a black version of The Sting.
Sorry I'm late, guys. I was taking a crap.
The Sting was a movie with Paul Newman long ago. It's a heist movie, and it's set in the 1940s.
Yeah, they run kind of a
it's
illegal
sort of,
gambling spot.
Right. They have the Black Club in Harlem, and then you got the gangsters, the mafia, and they sort of outsmart them and steal their money.
Also, in Harlem Nights, Eddie Murphy had his first love scene. Do you remember what that was like or how people received that?
You know, I think that, unfortunately, you know, society sometimes can see black men as threatening. And, of course, Eddie Murphy at that time should have had a love scene by, what, 28, 29 years old? He's never had a love scene. So, yeah, he had to write that himself. And I think that was more of who he was. And I think everybody was excited about it and waiting for it. It was overdue. Like I said, after coming to America, making so much money, everybody was into what is he gonna do next? And it was the fact that he had written this film that he wanted to do, and he wanted to do 3 generations of comedy, himself, Redd Foxx, Richard Pryor, and he was also gonna direct it, and he was producing it. So it was just a film that everybody wanted to be a part of, you know, and only a lucky few got to be part of that.
You see, I'm new in town and I haven't any friends, and you look quite friendly. Would you like to be my friend?
So I think even while we were doing it, we felt like we were doing something historic.
I appreciate everything you've done for me.
And something iconic that all 3 of them wouldn't be together that long or have the opportunity to ever do that again.
Man, it's other cities. Find someplace else to start all over again.
But there's no place like Harlem. You ain't lying, sugar. Let me look at it one last time.
Don't waste your time. Put your blind ass in the car.
I'm gonna kick your ass dirty if you keep talking to me like that.
In the car.
I got a chance to see all parts of Eddie. Eddie the director, Eddie the actor, Eddie the co-star, and they kept us laughing the entire time, on and off the screen.
He the 9-toe having his limping. Keep rolling, keep rolling.
What's your favorite memory of Harlem Nights?
That I could talk about? I just remember Redd Foxx telling a lot of stories about Elvis and the fact that Elvis was his best friend, and then he would flash this nipple ring with a smiley face and I was just like, ew, I don't want to see that.
Redd Foxx had a nipple ring?
Redd Foxx had a nipple ring, and he loved to show it.
Yo, that's crazy. No, that is a crazy story. I would have never known that. I don't know how much I wanted to know it, but now I know it.
Now you know it. Now you can't unsee it.
No.
Quick, you should have seen it. 30 limousines filled with niggas driving off into the sunset. And white boys, you know what to do with themselves.
Being that the 80s seems to be the biggest decade for Eddie, he started out working with white people. And he was considered the second man, but he ended up taking over the movie. And then by the end of the decade, it was him doing movies like Coming to America and Harlem Nights. What do you believe the significance is of him deciding to end the decade that way?
Well, I think towards the end of the decade, he had proven himself. He had proven that he was box office royalty and he could bring people in. And so then what happens is you get more power and you get to tell the stories that you want to tell. And, you know, telling the story of a black prince from Africa who comes to America to find his bride, it's genius. It's so creative.
Good morning, my neighbors!
And so I think by the end of the decade, it's more about he was able to create his own material and do what he wanted to do.
Where do you want to go, Pop?
I don't know, son, but we got a tank full of gas and a trunk full of money.
That sounds like a sweet combination.
Sweet as sugar.
You got to be at the Mark Twain Awards with Eddie Murphy when he was honored.
Yeah.
What was that like for you?
It was above and beyond, man.
There was also some confusion about whether or not it was an award or a prize. And and actually it's an award. Even though they call it a prize, it's an award, because usually when there's a prize, there's money involved.
Beautiful, man, to be there and see him being honored like that.
This is a wonderful night, and thank you all so much. I love everybody here for coming out and making me feel so wonderful. I love you all. Thank you so much. This is a wonderful night.
And as we get older and time changes, people start to forget.
Yeah.
People forget. They forget. Because someone's gonna come along and take that person's place. The next hot thing is gonna pop up. Because the people who are here didn't experience you live, didn't experience you in the moment.
Right.
You always pull VHS tapes up and streaming services, but it won't match being in the moment with them.
Right.
Watching them shine in the moment is different.
The legacy of Eddie Murphy in the 80s is just pure greatness. I mean, going from the bottoms, like just working little comedy clubs in the late 70s to the early 80s, to being on SNL, to starring in a movie, and it's supposed to be having just a supporting role, but ends up being like the main deal all throughout. Like, and in every single movie he did, it was blockbuster. I mean, he was making money, so. And he was creating opportunity and continued to do that throughout his whole career.
To me, now I know we talk and you guys, people will say Pryor is the GOAT. To me, it's Eddie Murphy. I didn't get to experience Pryor, but I got to experience Eddie. And to me, he is the embodiment of comedy.
Why don't you take care of my uncle's house till he gets back?
Hey, Axel, that's not really your uncle's house, is it?
Oh, yeah. Trust me.
All right, what the hell is going on here? Who are you guys? Who's that black guy?
Watching Eddie Murphy shine in the moment, watching him as that cocky kid on SNL, that cocky kid in those movies, and to see his confidence come across in everything he ever did, in the moment with him. You rolling with him. You're the people who are rooting for him to win.
Yeah.
You felt like he knew he belonged there. He showed you more of what was possible. You could see it. You could almost touch it almost. And I think him being in all those movies, it just changed the landscape of what we laugh at and what we are inspired by, especially as comedians.
Yeah.
Somebody had to be in front of it and someone had to lead the way, and you get inspired by that. You know, you get motivated by that. Comedy is a particular animal, and we have the ability to take anything and make it funny, because we have to be able to make you cry, like you laugh. A lot of our stuff is based in reality. You have to be able to pull from that. And that's when it's relatable to people. And I think Eddie did a great job with that.
You have the most amazing effect on people.
No, I don't.
It's true.
We got a chance to get a slice of who this man is. And we got a chance to devour into this man's life and eat.
Yeah.
And eat. This dude is still the GOAT.
Right.
GOAT.
But you were on SNL.